signed a check the other day, and I wrote 22, oops,
I know.
23, DKH initial.
I know. So whenever you watch this, you will, we just time-stamped it. It is January 2023, but we are going to look back right now at your life and start at the beginning. And we're going to obviously not spend, 10 minutes on each year, but we're going to move through and just see where you came from, how the Lord has radically changed your life from what you were when you were young, and how he's used your gifts and talents and abilities for his glory. So tell us about your family early in life. I
was born and raised in Minnesota. My parents, both wonderful Christians. So I was raised in a Christian home. I have a brother who's 3 years older than I am, and just the two of us, the two boys. And life was good. Yeah, I guess we were poor by certain standards. My dad served in the Army in World War II over in the Philippines. And coming back from the war, our soldiers didn't have a lot of money to just buy a house or build one. So my dad actually purchased what was a single-car garage, and that was our initial home. And I can remember it had, of course, the big garage door on the one end, although I think they maybe built over that. And then on the side was the entry door. So when you walked in the side of the garage, entry door is right in the middle. To the left was the living room. To the right was the kitchen. Then as you walked a little further back, to the left was Mom and Dad's bedroom. To the right was Doug's and my bedroom. All in the size of a two-car garage? Yeah, well, yeah. Wow. Probably a little less than a two-car garage. And we didn't have doors inside. We had curtains, which was fine. The interior walls were just unfinished sheetrock, just sheetrock with the nails in it. We had a pump out back for water. We didn't have running water in it. We had an outhouse for those needs. That was about probably 100 feet behind the garage, which in Minnesota, when it's below zero, and the urge hits you, you got to make that trip. You learn realms of discipline you didn't think possible. But anyway, that was our early life. I was probably only, I don't know, 3 or so when my dad and my uncle started building an actual house next to that garage, which we eventually moved into. It was a flat roof house, still very small, simple house, but I think there were 4 rooms upstairs with a little bathroom and then a basement area. So compared to the garage, that was a mansion. Moving on up. So, we didn't have a lot, but we had everything we need. We had 2 wonderful parents who loved us and provided for us. And so it was a very simple lifestyle, as it was for many in that time, as the nation was rebuilding after World War II. My earliest remembrances as far as music is concerned, I seem to always gravitate to music. Even as a kid, I liked it. If I was listening to a record on our phonograph, which I can remember the unit we had, I guess you'd now call it an entertainment center, but it was probably 4.5, 5 feet wide by 3.5 to 4 feet tall. It's a piece of furniture. Right, and on the right top corner was a little black and white TV about this big, and also a radio. And then on the left side was a 45. You pulled it out. It was a 45 record player. Then down on the lower right side was a drawer you pulled out, and that was a turntable for 33 1/3 album type records. Then I think the speaker for all of it was kind of on the left side. And everything was tubes. If you wanted to watch TV, you had to turn it on, wait till the tubes warmed up, and then the picture would finally came out. So we were... Kids are completely confused right now if they're watching this. We were living in high con. We've talked about a 45, that to some is a gun. 33 1/3 album, have no idea what that is. Black and white TV, what was that? So, but very, very simple. So you loved music. You were drawn to it. You had your dad was musical, correct? He was, and people have asked through the years, did you grow up in a musical family? And I kind of think of a musical family like the Von Trapp family and some of the music. Everybody plays an instrument or sings, whatever. And I would go, no, not really. But then I would think about it, and my dad played the guitar, my mom played the piano. I can remember them singing in church duets once in a while. And then I came across a picture, I don't know, somewhere along the way, of my grandma Holm. That was my dad's mother, and all her brothers and sisters, except one guy. We're not sure who he is. I think he's a relative. Just walking by. But there's about 8 or 9 of them. It's this wonderful picture. They're out kind of in a wooded area. my grandma Holm is playing an auto harp. Someone's playing a violin. There's a couple guitars. I think there's maybe a mandolin. And so they all played music. And I would give anything. I look at that picture and I just go, what did that sound like? What were they playing? They had books, you know, they were obviously singing out of a hymnal. I would guess it was a very organic, kind of bluegrassy, country sort of, you know, woodsy sound. So when I look at that, I go, oh yeah, music really is, there definitely is a genetic reality to it. I mean, I was influenced environmentally too, but some of those things are just born in you. And I remember both my brother and I just loved music. We, in the town we grew up, which was St. Paul Park, Minnesota, had an absolutely phenomenal music program. And we started out in 4th grade. They would literally fit you for an instrument. You'd go down and they'd look at your lips, they'd look at your jaw, your everything, you know, and kind of make a determination. You would be... But
you're going to be prone to...
Yeah, you'd be a good candidate for a saxophone or for whatever. Or you. Yeah, you can be a drummer.
You're drums. And you were trombone.
Yeah, my brother, again, 3 years older, he started playing the trumpet, was very good, always was very, very good. First chair, you know, just a really good trumpet player. When I came along, I was kind of hoping for saxophone because I always thought sax was a cool instrument, but they decided that trombone was my instrument. And I remember, yeah, I mean, I was excited about it. I'm going to get to have an instrument like my brother and play and practice. And I was used to him down in the basement practicing scales and playing. And he was to the point where he could play songs. And so I was pretty excited about that. But you actually start out with just the mouthpiece. I mean, for 2-3 weeks, all I had was the mouthpiece. And they teach you how to, you know, sound like a wounded duck, just these awful sounds. And it was so frustrating, but it builds up your lip. I mean, everything is about your armature and your lip strength. So then I finally got the horn, put it together. And boy, do I wish I had some recordings of those early days, because it had to be awful. It just had to be. Trombone is it's a difficult instrument because it's not an exact instrument in that woodwind with keys, trumpet or baritone or French horn with valves, it's pretty exact. You press these two, you can get this note. Trombone is all a matter of kind of relativity. It's position 3 is about here, but you have to have an ear to know, okay, that's right.
Yeah. So did you have, when you were that age, were you like junior high when you were in band?
That was 4th grade when I started. So by the time we had elementary band, I'm sure I was starting to play in a group in 4th grade. You know, some kind of little band.
So at that time, or maybe by junior high age, did you have a sense that I've got a gifting in this? Were you?
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't think in those terms, but I realized that it came very easily to me.
And did you like practicing?
I didn't like practicing. Sometimes I did, depending on what it was, because there was everything from, I mean, we had... In our school, we had private lessons, individual private lessons, every single week.
Wow.
Even through the summer, except for about a 2-week break. Now, that's unheard of now. Now they generally practice sections. As we've lived here in Texas, a lot of the band program, not exclusively, but a lot of it's about marching bands. We weren't so much into the marching thing. Maybe just it was too cold up there to march the second half of football season. So it was classical music. It was, we had later on in high school, we had what they call a swing band or a stage band, played old classic like Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey type music. So we were, and I'll just brag here, we were easily far and away the best high school band in the state. And we knew that because there were state competitions. There were all the other schools and all the other bands, and then there was the Park High Band. And in some of the concerts, they had a concert series in the summer oftentimes when professional musicians traveled. I think Al Hurt, he didn't come to our school, but people like that. Al Hurt, and who was the clarinetist, Dixieland clarinet. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. One of my favorite.
Oh, Gillespie?
No, Dizzy Gillespie was a trumpet player.
Oh, okay.
But guys like that would oftentimes tour around to schools or colleges, and they would do a special concert with the high school band, and you'd have this celebrity instrumentalist play. And we had those events. And every instrumentalist of a professional level that came was just amazed. In fact, we would hear things like, look, I play with college bands. We don't hear this quality of music from college bands. So it was a very, very high caliber training. And I did. I had to learn, all the scales and intervals and double tonguing,
sure.
tonguing and triple tonguing and practice, and going to get a lesson. Of course, one of my great fears, and it used to be a reoccurring dream, was, especially in high school, our band director's name was Mr. Storti, wonderful man, Italian descent, strict disciplinarian. And if I didn't practice and I had to go into that private lesson, there's no place to hide.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know your stuff,
all eyes are on you.
He's going to lean into you pretty hard. And I would have reoccurring dreams about that. But you know what? It's one of those things, and it's often so true. He was probably one of the toughest teachers I had. I can't even remember the names of some of my teachers, but he's my favorite. He's my absolute favorite.
For sure.
Most of what I learned about what it takes to succeed and excel musically is just plain hard work.
Yep.
He would always say, practice, practice, practice.
Yep.
He'd poke me in the chest. And he taught us that if you want the reward, and there is a great reward, to whether in a concert band or orchestra or a singing competition or whatever, there's a great reward when you do it well and you move people's hearts and lives. But you can't experience that if you haven't put in the work. It's it's totally impossible. So
I read this quote the other day, and I've committed it to memory, that if you'll do today what others won't, you'll be able to do tomorrow what others can't.
Yeah, it's good.
And I'm telling my 14-year-old and other kids of mine that the practice isn't fun. That's not where the fun lies, but you have to do it in order to be able to perform it later, in whatever it is.
Well, and I've said that in ministry, people, and understandably so, a lot of people saw me on stage in an auditorium of whatever, 5,000, 10,000 people. They saw me on television. They saw the records. They, oh man, that must really be something. Boy, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like that. And I'm so thankful for those opportunities. But most of what I've done is just hard, sacrificial, get down, practice. For those couple hours of payoff, if you can put it that way, to get to do what you do, what your kind of end game is. And of course with us it was always about ministry, but to get to use music and play your instrument and touch people's lives. But behind all that was one little slice of the pie. The rest was traveling, setting up, writing letters, just the work in the office, the sheer physical exertion of getting ready, tearing down when you're done. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. So, and that's true of, I think, most people who you might look at, whether it be an author, a speaker, some celebrity. Oh boy, look, they're so gifted. I always liken that to, again, sports nuts, but Larry Bird, one of my favorite players ever, made those unbelievable, crazy, buzzer-beating three-point shots and everything. Oh
like
man,
he'd done it a few times before.
He's so gifted. When you read about him, he was the first one in the gym. He was the last one to leave. He shot. You know,
it was second nature.
It's that saying: the harder you work, the luckier you get.
That's right. Yeah, I remember you telling my oldest son that quite a bit in basketball. But you didn't just play the trombone. Obviously, you haven't made your living playing the trombone. So when did you pick up the guitar?
Thank heavens.
Yeah, really.
So I actually went to college.
Hard to sing and play the trombone.
I actually went to college on a trombone scholarship. It wasn't a full ride scholarship by any means, but I mean, it was a nice scholarship on the trombone. But by the time I had, since fourth grade through senior high, lesson, play, practice. I was so tired of that instrument. Plus, I became a Christian in my senior year in high school, so there's a great transformation that happened in my life spiritually. I had also, previous to that, learned to play the guitar probably when I was in junior high. I'm thinking 13 years of age or so I started playing. My brother played the guitar. We started playing in bands, just, local bands at the local dance or whatever. But that occupied all of my energy and thought. I mean, the guitar was cool, the trombone was not, in my mind. So when I got to college, I was so done with the trombone. They actually asked me to be... They had a great choral program in this college. They did not have a great instrumental program. And because of my experience and training, the head of the overall head of the music program called me aside one day and said, would you consider being the director of the college band? I'm thinking, you don't have a director? Just like, no. I said, okay, I'll give it a try. I know how to read a score and know what the instruments are playing. I think one, maybe two times I couldn't do it. Sound like the Beefaroni Marching Band. There used to be a commercial on TV that was a product called Beefaroni. We're having beefaroni. It's made from macaroni. They were just awful. It was just, and we didn't have a full band. We had like 2 tubas, 1 flute, a triangle, whatever. And I just immediately went, no, I'm done. I can't do it.
Gift.
So I went down to the director and said, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Which, all that to say, at that time, I also realized, to be able to sing and play the guitar, certainly in the 60s, when, the hippie movement, folk music was kind of on its way out, but to say meaningful things through song with acoustic instruments, not necessarily acoustic, but at that point I was probably playing acoustic more than electric. It was really powerful stuff, and realized early on, especially as I began to write some music, Christian music, that to play with the guitar, to sing a more contemporary style of music to the younger demographic was incredibly effective, because there was nothing like it. People often ask me, who were your early musical influences? I always say Elvis Presley and Ricky Nelson. There wasn't anybody in Christian music that I could even think of that played a guitar did anything cool. But I remember watching Elvis. I'd watch the Ozzie and Harriet show on, I think it was Saturday night, and at the end, Ricky, when he got older, he'd play with his band, Hello, Mary Lou, or whatever. So, and I would lock on to that. James Burton was his electric guitar player, who I had the privilege to meet and spend some time with a few years ago. And I would just watch his fingers. I'd watch his hands. And when the show was done, I would go grab my dad's old F-hole guitar and try to remember where I think I saw his fingers on the neck. And my ear would tell me, that's not right, something like this. And then when I'd find the right fingering, my ear told me, Dad, that's it, that's a chord. I was actually playing the guitar probably at least a couple years before I knew there were names to the chords. I just knew your fingers go here, and kind of learned, and I would watch my brother and learn from him. But that's kind of how I started with the guitar. At the same time, I learned to play the piano more just by ear. When I was in college, I had to learn to play by notes, which was brutal. Because if you learn it the wrong way, then you have to unlearn to learn it the right way. I learned how to play piano, a lot of it from a black brother, a friend of mine, who taught me, in black church, this is how we voice the chords, and it's different the way they invert the chords and put the fifth on the bottom instead of the 1, 3, and 5. And so when I sit down the piano, it usually comes out like black church music, and I love it. I just loved it. Well, but now all of a sudden I got to play ding, 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 whatever, hot cross buns or something.
Yes, and let me tell you, growing up in his house and taking piano lessons, and I took from a very strict classical pianist, and she was excellent, but it was all about notes, fingering,
Right.
And you could listen to a commercial on TV and go sit down and play it, and it would just drive me crazy, because I could only play what was in front of me, and you could play anything.
And Jennifer was so emotional. We always had wonderful relationship, always. Yes. And she would sit at the piano as a little girl. And one of my big things is timing. You can teach notes, but it's real hard to teach timing. If you don't get the meter, if the rhythm's not in you, you can write it out mathematically any way you want, but people either got it or they don't. And so I would hear Jennifer playing her things, but the timing was off. I would try to. I thought kindly, now let's do that again. You need to be right on. She would just start. And I always felt so bad.
I didn't really get timing until I started teaching aerobics, and then I had to learn 32 count measures and timing, and it worked. Okay, we're going to cut off here because we don't want to make it any longer for you, but we will come back and do another episode talking more about your early years of ministry. Yeah. And take the things that he's learned in the early years and see how the Lord uses it then. So thank you for joining us. Have a great day.